Hi guys, welcome. This is Angela and I am going to be stitching the Delta Top Zip number 3 zipper bag today by Parker on the Porch. This is what I'm going to stitch and I'm going to show you how to make this. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the fabrics and also talk a little bit about the design options. So this only comes in a number 3 zipper, so there isn't a size 5 at this time. So there's the number 3 zipper. This set is 6 sizes. You get 6 sizes when you buy this. Okay, so here's the front, here's the back, fully lined. We're going to stitch this out together. Make sure to follow this YouTube channel if you like to watch the tutorials, and also click on the little bell. If you click on the bell, it notifies you when a new tutorial comes out. Okay, so I'm going to talk about this. So this is the Delta. We're making the Delta. I was going to show you how cute it is when you add little tags and charms. This little charm is also Parker on the Porch. It comes with some different shapes. This is called the Basic Shapes Applique Charms. This is set 2, and I made the heart one. And then this one I make all the time. This is also Parker on the Porch. This is the Applique Just Say It charm. And it's just applique, okay? So those are just some little additions that I added here. I also added this little pole thing. I bought these on Amazon. Just look up backpack zipper pole and lots of colors will come up and stuff. Okay, so that's just getting some of the stuff out of the way. I want to talk a little bit about the fabric real quick. The heart fabric right here, I'm not really sure where I bought this. I just pulled this out of my stash and I don't have very much of it. I'm pretty sure it's probably Joann's. So I have that. And then the polka dot black and white, that one is the Keepsake Calico. So this was also a fabric, okay. And then I also used this stripe right here as my liner. This is B&W Stripe Brother Sister Design Studio. So that's that fabric. And then this fabric right here, this one right here, this is it in a bigger thing. I bought a lot of this fabric a long time ago. I just pulled it out of my stash. This is all I saw on it, so I don't know if that helps anybody, but okay. So that is all the fabrics I used today. Okay. Now I'm going to go take you over to my computer really quick just to show you a couple things on the website and the PDF before I start walking you through this bag, okay? So meet me over there. So one thing I wanted to show you, if you type in the Delta, there are 3 designs. This is what we're making today. There also is a wallet. This wallet is one size and it's not included in this file. And then right here is a cute key fob that matches with the triangles. So I wanted to let you know that you have these 3 choices, okay? And then I just want to make sure it is not included. 508, 705. Yeah, I'm right. This is a different size. So this is not included in the other one. So any of the patterns on the Parker on the Porch group, people, if you don't see it, if you scroll down, it shows exactly what sizes you get. This one has one size and it shows you the finished measurement. So if you go over here, you can see that you get all of these sizes right here. And this is a 2 hooping. You have the bag front that you make first, and then you have the bag base that you add it to. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out. The other thing I wanted to point out, I'm just going to show one more thing. Let me type in charm. This is a question I get all the time too. Let's see if it's on here real quick. Probably should have planned ahead. Okay, so the other thing, when you're buying a design, there are so many questions about where did you get the eyelets, where did you get the ball chains, all of that stuff too. Not only is there a blog up here, if you go up to the thing, you can go to the blog. There's like a most shopped items. So Jen has links to all the stuff that she normally buys. But a lot of times in the actual design, she has stuff right here where there's link, eyelid setting tool. So if you want to learn how to do eyelets and you need the setting tool, you click right here. The eyelets 3/16 inch right here, and there's links. This is the split jump rings right here, ball chains right here. So if you click on it, it brings you to ball chains. Okay, so that's another way to shop items within her website. So I just was going to point that out real quick. The other thing is so every time you buy a file by Parker and the Porch, there is a PDF in there. So you'll get your files within that photo. There's going to be a PDF. So if you open the PDF, this is the Delta PDF. I just wanted to show you on this one. If you like to measure your fabric ahead of time, I usually spend time showing you how to come up with your measurements for your fabric depending on what bag size you're making from the placement stitches. This particular bag is a little harder to do that because you're doing triangle folds. So you need like more fabric than you think you need to get your fold to go correctly. And you'll see that as we're making it later. So for this bag in particular, it is helpful to go in here. If you go through this very first section right here, it says fabric size suggestions. So I'm making the 6x10. You can see this shows the 5x7 hoop, the 6x10 hoop, the 7x11 hoop. So it gives you a suggestion on what size to make your fabric pieces. So I suggest looking at this when you're making this particular bag. I'm going to show you how to make all of the steps and everything, but the fabric size is kind of nice here because you need to get a much bigger piece than what the placement's going to show you on this bag. So that was the only other thing I wanted to show you. The other thing is I didn't show you. I'm going to go back to my desk and show you. I actually didn't walk through the steps of the wallet right here, but I did make one so you could see it. So I'm going to show you that in a second too. Okay, I'm going to take a couple more seconds to show you. I did make the wallet so you could see it. I didn't show you how to make it in the video. I walked you through this one, but if you can do this one, then you can do this one. This is really just, this has these 2 extra steps, where this one is just this step, and this step right here, okay? So this is the wallet right here and what it looks like in the size. So you can see the front, back, liner, okay? So this is that wallet. This is the 6x10 size that I made. And I'm going to walk you through this one. Okay, I wanted you to see that. The other one I made, this one I made a while ago, and I made this one into a purse, and I show it a little later in the video as well. So there's this one too. I think this one's the 8x12. I wasn't sure, but you could see. Okay, so there's some different sizes of them. Okay, and then in the next clip, I tell you to go ahead and do your hoop and put 1 sheet of tearaway. I actually, on this bag, think you should do cutaway. The reason it says to do tearaway is because on the fronts of your bags, you can tear all of the stabilizer off. But if making this again, I would just do a piece of cutaway and just leave it at that. It just makes your bag a little thicker, and with you using batting in here, it just makes your bag thicker. That's why I think the tearaway was suggested, but I would use cutaway, and I actually did use, when I made this second off camera, and I went ahead and just used this so I didn't have to tear out the tearaway in between these quilting stitches. So you can use either, but my suggestion is to use cutaway. Okay, so enjoy this video. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you so much. Hope it helps you. Okay, I have one sheet of tearaway on my hoop. We are making the 6 by 10 size. I have the front of the bag loaded right here. We're going to go ahead and stitch the placement first directly onto your stabilizer. And I am running the Baby Lock Meridian machine if you're curious. So I'm going to go ahead and run the placement stitch. I'll come back and show you what that looks like. Okay guys, this is what it looks like right here. It went ahead and did the placement stitch for the front of your bag. Now you're going to take one sheet of batting. You're going to want it to be bigger than this placement stitch, about 1.5 inches all the way around, because we are going to place, this is the front of the bag. We're going to place this onto the bag base later, so you need some excess to move it around. Okay, so here's my piece of batting. I just got a piece that was big enough to go over all those placements. So get it smooth. Sorry, I'm doing this one-handed over here. Get it smooth and how you want it. And then go ahead and stitch the next step. The next step is just going to tack your batting down to your stabilizer. I will come back and show you mine. Okay, it went ahead and tacked the batting down. This is what it should look like. Now you're going to go ahead and stitch the next step, which is the placement for the middle triangle that it's going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what it looks like right here. It went ahead and made our placement for the center piece of fabric. This is the easiest one to place because you just pick what you want to show in the center and you put it there. There's no flipping or anything. So I just have one sheet of woven. I really don't know what this is. I'm sorry. It was just in my stash of stuff. I bought it a long time ago, and that's all I have. It's not that big. It's probably from Joann's from a long time ago. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and make sure I get past all my placement stitches, and you can fussy place what you want. You can see what's going to show in the middle of this triangle, so you can place whatever you're doing exactly where you want it. You want the right side of the fabric facing up like me. I went ahead and just ironed my piece of woven, and I did one sheet of interfacing. Let me tell you what I used. I just used, let me get it. I just used right here, Fusible mid-weight. It's Pellon, and it's 931 TD. I just used that. This already has, sorry, this bag already has the batting right here, and I use it because I like my fabric not to get bunchy and stuff. It makes it thicker and easier to maneuver. If you just have like woven here, it just doesn't tend to lay as nice, so that I'm doing it more for that than thickness. But so that's a preference. You could do what you like. The other thing you could have done is use fusible fleece here. I normally, when there's a padded quilted bag, I usually use fusible fleece and adhere it directly to my fabric and then use that and then the quilting. But because this bag is pieced in multiple places, I didn't want to put fusible fleece on every single piece, because later on we do like flipping and stuff, and then you're overlapping multiple layers of fusible fleece. So I just did the batting. I think it's the best use and choice for this bag. Okay, so go ahead and use what your preference is. Go ahead and get it past all these placement stitches, and then go over to your machine and stitch the tack down stitch. It's going to tack this down on the next stitch. Okay. Okay guys, this is what we look like right here. We have it tacked down. Okay, you're going to want to leave the excess down here because you want it to catch later in the final stitches. I'm going to just cut around here. You're going to want to leave, you're going to cut close to the stitches. I'm just going to use my applique scissors. The pattern's suggesting that you leave about 1/4 inch excess, so it doesn't pull out of your stitches. Okay, so I'm just gonna cut close to it. Okay, that's how close I trimmed it. Now I'm going to go back to the machine and I'm going to run the next step, which is the placement for the triangle over here. Okay guys, I'm going to do the best to explain this part. I am not the best at the fabric placement on these angles and getting them straight when you pick directional fabric. The best thing to do on this bag, if you don't want to be frustrated at all, unless you're really great at that part. I'm not the best at it, I'm just saying. I'm going to try help with tips. There's probably lots of great suggestions over in the group, but my biggest tip is to use non-directional fabric, and it's not an issue. Okay, so this is one of the bags I made. This is one of the Delta bags. So I like to do the cute directional thing in the center because it's super easy to place. I showed you how to place that. If you're, and then these other ones, I picked fabrics that look cute, but don't matter which way they go. It doesn't, it's not like trying to line up stripes. It's not trying to line up anything. So I'm going to show you a tip on how to do it. So I'm going to be using this polka dot fabric right here. So it makes no difference. I just have to make sure I get past all the placement lines. So what I would do is I would just go ahead and place it like this. Stitch is the next step, and then you basically fold it over and it stitches down, and then you can trim. It looks fine no matter how it's placed. Okay, if I was trying to place stripes right here, it would make a difference, because if you're wanting them to go straight across, then that's, you need to know what you're doing. Okay, so the way to do that is to go ahead and place your fabric like this. I believe it might have been Bev in the Park on the Porch group. If you look up her name, I'm pretty sure she did a tutorial that showed this really well, and she might word it better. But go ahead and place your fabric like you would want it. Okay, so I think this looks pretty straight. I would probably just line the bottom line up with the bottom line right here, so you know you're exactly where you wanted to be to line it up. So let me get that down here. Okay, that's pretty close. Okay, so you know you're kind of how you want it to be, if the stripes would be this way in the end. So what you need to do is you need to go ahead and pull this side up. Once you see the lines right there, there's the stitching. You're going to go ahead and get that lined up, and then you're going to make like a crease kind of, so you can see it. Okay, then, and it will help if you have the interfacing on here, because it will hold a little better. Okay, but if you just go ahead and make the crease like that, then when you line it up over here, you know to line it like that. So let me go like this, because the next one's going to be the tack down. You line it up on that line. I think I have it pretty good. Okay, if you line it up on that line, making sure you're high enough. Okay, so you basically line that fold with the right side of your fabric face down now. Once you have that line down, it stitches the next step. Then when it comes over, I'm just gonna fake it. When you fold it over, then your lines are going straight. Okay, so that's how you're gonna line it up if you have directional fabric. Okay, that's the tip. Okay, I hope that made sense. If not, I'm sorry. It explains it in the PDF as well. So if you want to go in your files when you buy this design, there is a step-by-step picture of every step, and it explains this process as well. Okay, but you can see now the stripes are going the right way. Okay, so that's what you would do for directional fabric. Okay, I'm moving it out of the way. I'm moving on. Okay, I am using these. So what you want to do next is you want to go ahead and place this just over those stitches. Okay, we're going to go back to the machine. It's going to tack this down with one line, and then we're going to pull it over. Okay, so right side's down. Okay, go stitch your tack down stitch. Okay guys, this is what it looks like right here. Went ahead and stitched that down. Now you're going to go ahead and take your fabric and you're going to fold it over, and you're just going to make it smooth. Okay, and then you're going to stitch the very next step, which is going to go ahead and stitch the triangle, tacking this down. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I will come back and show you. Okay, this is what we looked like. It went ahead and tacked that down. Okay, now I'm just going to cut, leaving the fourth, around a fourth seam allowance again. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing right here. This is the triangle right here. You don't need, that's a little different shape. You don't need another placement stitch because it shows you the corner. Now, I didn't really talk about how big to make the fabric. If you go to the PDF, this bag is a little bit harder to just tell you what size to do, the placement or the size of the fabric, because it depends on your angles and stuff. Like, this is not that big, but you're not placing it like straight down. So when you do these, you need a little bit excess on top and bottom because it goes sideways, if you know what I'm talking about. This is the 6x10 bag, and the pattern PDF suggests 6x8 for your fabric pieces up here on front. So you might want to refer to the PDF on this bag file. Usually I just automatically use the placement stitch, but I would just oversize it. You can see that it's going the whole length. So whatever bag size you're making, I would just make it quite a bit bigger. If you're really frugal with your fabric, this is, like you said, that's like almost 8 and this is almost 11. I just made it oversized so when you do the angles, you're not cutting it short, okay? So this bag's a little bit different for fabric placement and the placement stitches. Okay, so I'm going to show you again one more time with this right here, although I have my crease mark now. So if you have directional fabric, you're going to go ahead and lay it flat how you want it, like if it was just face up. So I would take these lines and I would bring it down exactly across that line. Get it straight and smooth. Then I'm turning it. Then I would fold this fabric over. Now it's this way. I would fold it until you get to the line, the placement line right here. You can see the stitching right there. So I would get it to where the stitching is. Once you get it there, then I would make a crease. Okay. Make a crease going up and down, okay? And then, then when you place your fabric, you're going to go ahead and do the right sides down, and you're going to be lining, hopefully that's the same, I have double lines now. You're going to go ahead and place that fold along this line. Like that. That's pretty close. A fold along the line. So then when it stitches right here, then, oops, when it pulls over, the lines are straight in the correct way. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and just do my non-directional fabric. So I'm just going to go ahead and place this like this, making sure I have some up here and here. It's going to stitch along here and then we're going to pull it over, okay? So this one kind of has a little bit, so I might do the fold method, but I'm going to go ahead and get my fabric placed where I want it, and then we're going to go ahead and tack down the next step, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what we look like. Went ahead and stitched that tack down line. So now you're going to cut your 1/4. Scissors like that sharp right now. 1/4 seam allowance. Okay, and then you're going to fold it over. Oops, sorry, people are slamming doors. Now you can see how my little egg type shape, let me put it up close so you can see how my eggs are going the right way. They're not all sideways and weird. So that's what I did, the same thing I showed you. Okay, so now you're going to go ahead and put this here, and then it's going to go ahead and tack the next thing down. Okay, I will come back and show you what mine looks like. Okay, that's what it looks like right there. It went ahead and tacked it all down right there. Okay, now we're going to move to this side over here, and we're going to go ahead and go back to the machine and stitch the placement. It's going to stitch the rest of this triangle right here so we know how big of a piece of fabric we need. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch that. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there's what the placement triangle looks like right there. Okay, so you're going to, like I said last time, place your fabric how you would want it to look, right sides up facing you. Okay, and then if you have fabric that matters, you would go ahead and go like this. You would fold it. Then when you flip it over, you would match that folded line up along this line. And then when it stitches down, you'd move it over. I'm just going to go ahead and go along this line because mine does not matter. Just going to go like that. And then I'm going to go over, make sure you have some up here and here. I'm going to go over the machine. I'm going to go ahead and do the tack down, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like right there. Went ahead and tacked it down. I'm just going to go ahead and cut a little bit of this because I moved it over some. Just getting the one around the 1/4. So I'm just cutting off some of this excess, okay? So now you're going to go ahead and fold this, smooth it out like that. And then you can go to the machine and it's going to go ahead and tack that down. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, that's what we look like right there. I'm going to go ahead and trim it. Okay, now I'm going to show you again on this. So get your fabric how you want it. This one does kind of matter. I wouldn't want my ovals to be sideways. So this one actually does matter. So make sure your hoop's always the right way. So I have my bar near me. This is the way it's going to face with my hearts. This is going to be the top, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get these where I want them. I'm lining it up along this bottom line so I can kind of keep them straight. And go this way a little bit. Okay, like that. So if I want mine, let me pull it down a little bit because you need some on top and some on bottom. So let me pull it. Okay, like that. Okay, then I'm going to turn it like this. Then I'm going to go ahead and fold it along our line like this. Okay, I'm just making a crease. Once I'm creased, I'm going to fold back, and then you're going to go ahead and take it, and then that crease line right there on that side, you're going to line it up on this line. So you could fold it this way once you have it folded. You just fold it the opposite way. Get it right along that line, up and down, like that, okay? And then pull it back over like that, okay? And now I'm going to go ahead and stitch that tack down right there. And we should be good to go. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, there we are. That's what it looks like. So the reason you need like an oversized piece like this, your triangle is really not that big, but you need a piece that's big enough because when you do fold over, you need to get past this placement right here. And if you make your fabric too small, then you won't get past. So you can always check once you do this, you can always check to make sure that you're going to get past the placements that you need right here before you cut it. If you're wrong, then just pull this out and get a bigger piece of fabric or move it about. This is why I kind of always just oversize my fabric, just because I would rather my project turn out great versus not measuring. You know, if you're trying to measure it really tightly on fabric and it messes up, then your whole bag is messed up, and I don't like the seam rip. So, okay, so now I'm just going to trim this. Okay, so man, you need to use this for like a little tab or something later. Okay, so we're trimmed up. Now we're going to go ahead and fold this over. Okay, and you can see that it's pretty straight. Looks good. Okay, so now you're going to go over the machine and you're going to do the stitch step that's just going to go ahead and tack this down. And then I'll come back and show you what we do next. Okay guys, this is what we look like right here. We have all our front pieces down. Now it's going to go ahead and stitch the quilting in these 3 places. I was trying to decide what I wanted to do. I think I'm just going to do white thread. This thread now is going to show. So pick whatever color thread you want and go ahead and stitch the quilting. I'll come back and show you mine. Okay, here's where we are. That's what it looks like with the quilting. Now it's going to go ahead and do a stitch up here that's going to allow us to place our fabric later. If your foot's super low, bring it up a little bit so it doesn't catch on any of these pieces that are up here. But go ahead and stitch the next step and I will come back and show you what we do next. Okay guys, this is what we look like right here. It went ahead and stitched it all. So this is what we need to do for our first hooping. We are done with our first hooping, so we can take it out. Okay. Now what you're going to go ahead and do is hoop one piece of cutaway. You can do tearaway if you want, but in this next hooping, it stays in the bag. So if you don't like the sound of tearaway inside your bag, I suggest you do cutaway. So I'm going to hoop 1 sheet of cutaway. I'm going to load our other design file, and which is, I think it's labeled bag base. And then I'm going to go ahead and stitch. Once I have my stabilizer on my hoop, I'm going to stitch the placement. And then the other thing you're going to do is you're going to come back here and tear away all this tearaway. And there's quilting back here, so just kind of be careful. Don't tear any of your stitches, okay? You're going to want to, you don't have to take this out, but if you want to take this out, get all of this out, and I will come back and show you what my placement stitch. Sorry, the little tripod thing fell. I'll come back and show you what my placement stitch looks like. I don't know where it stopped recording. So I'm just going to go ahead and tear this out, okay? Okay, I did not take it all out because they're tiny, and I think you pose a bigger risk of tearing out some of your cute quilting stitches by trying to get all of this out. I took out the big pieces, and since you have batting in here, you're not really going to hear it anyways. So I left that in. Up to you if you want to pull it out. I left it in. Okay, so this is the top of your bag up here. So I'm going to just cut across so it's easier to place later. I'm just cutting it kind of straight to get this excess off, okay? So now that we've prepped this part, we can set this aside until we need it, okay? Now I went ahead and did 1 sheet of cutaway. I brought up the other file. I stitched the placement right here. So you can see right here, I should do this in black so you can see, but there is 3 lines, the top line, the middle line, and the line right below it. This is where you place your zipper. Okay, so here's my number 3 zipper. If you want your zipper to open this way, put your pull on this side. If you want it to open the other way, put it this way. Now, it does not matter what length your zipper is, as long as it can get past these placement stitches right here and have enough excess that when the foot of your machine goes along this outside placement, it does not hit your zipper pull or the end of your zipper right here, okay? That's how you know you have a big enough zipper. If you have one that's super long, that doesn't matter. You can use that. We cut the excess off later, okay? You just have to have it long enough. So the way you're gonna place this is I go ahead and put my zipper the way I want it, and then I line it up along this bottom line right here, just above it, so I can see the line, but just barely. So I'm gonna go ahead and line it up along that line. And then I'm going to take some tape, and I am just going to go ahead and tape it down. And I'm taping it where it doesn't stitch, because I don't want stitches going over my tape. Okay, over here. There. Okay, right there. Okay, and then you can put one along this middle. Just do it high enough that the stitches aren't going to stitch onto your tape. But this is just masking tape, this one. I wouldn't do it with my other tape. This is like the medical tape because then it's harder to get out. But this masking tape would just tear anyways. It's not as hard to get off. Okay, so I have it placed just above this bottom stitch line right here. Just above. I lined it along all the way across there, taping it down. The next step's going to go ahead and stitch on the bottom of your zipper right here, jumping your zipper teeth and stitching along the top. That's going to tack your zipper to your stabilizer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go stitch that, and I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay guys, this is what we look like. It went ahead and tacked down the zipper. You can see right there. Now you are going to flip your hoop to the back of underneath of your hoop, and we are going to cut out this cutaway right now. So when we turn our bag, I'm going to use a sharper scissors just to poke it. Make sure not to poke your zipper itself. We're just trying to get the cutaway started. Okay, so I am going to cut around here. So you're going to cut in front of the stitches. Don't cut the actual stitches. The only stitches that you should see that are cutting out in here are those center stitches that helped you line up your zipper, which isn't attached to anything. Okay, so you see those? That was that center line. Okay, so you can see that I didn't cut those stitches or the ones above. I cut right below and right above it. The only thing we cut out of the center, and now you can see that these are your zipper teeth. So when we turn our bag, we have something to turn through, okay? So you got that done. Now we're gonna go ahead and place our liners, which I just ironed, okay? I'm gonna use woven fabric, which is just this right here, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and place it so you have right sides facing you. If there was hearts here, you would have it facing you. Then you're gonna flip it up because this is the flipper style, okay? And you're gonna pull it right below this line right here. So I'm gonna line it up. Make sure you have a piece that's big enough to get past your placements on either side. And I'm gonna just pull it right past here. Okay, and then I'm gonna take some tape. I like to use this tape because it sticks better than the masking tape, and you can just tear it with your fingers. This is just like the medical tape. Okay, and then I'm just gonna tape both sides down. Okay, now this is just gonna hang out here for a little bit. So when you put it back on your hoop, make sure this stays out. But once it stitches the line and when it's the time to turn the liner down, when you pull it down, it's gonna face the correct way. Okay, but right now it just hangs out up there. So we got our liner placed. I'm gonna flip it back over. Now we're gonna go ahead and take the front of our bag right here. You can see that it stitched a little line right here. See that little line right there? You are gonna take that line and you're gonna take this upper line. Remember when it stitched across and went down and all the way across? That's what you're going to use to place. So the way that I do this is I just go ahead and put it the right way towards you. I flip it up like that, okay? And then you're going to line it on this bag. You have a line right here. You have stitches. I'm going to mark it so you can see it from the camera. You have stitches right here that shows your center line. And then you have your line right here, which is where it tacked your zipper down. Those are your lines you're going to use on this part, and then on this part you're going to use that center line in the top that I showed you. So the way I do this is I go ahead and pull it down, I pull this up, and then I line this way first. So I'm just lining up that center line to this center line, okay? And then I make sure that this line on the bag, on the zipper, is between these two lines right here, because you don't want to see this top line when it stitches, but you do want that bottom one. So I just lined it up between those two the best I can. Okay. A lot of times this top line right here, the very top one you don't want to see later on. I line the one right below it up with the line right here is how I do it. So there's that, and then I just make them touch. So you can do it a tiny bit higher, but I don't. I make those two touch. Okay, once I get that one, make sure I'm still in the center. Once I get that one touching, then I will tape this side down so it doesn't move. Okay, that's still in the center. I'm just looking at it. Okay, center, 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 center. I was just thinking a minute. Okay, so it's just lined up. So I have that line touching the zipper line, and I have this line lined up with here. So now that you have that there, I'm going to go over the machine. You're going to put it on, and I hold this up. I hold this as I put it on like that. I make sure that my liner's hanging out. I'm going to stitch the next step. The next step is going to go ahead, make sure this is where it needs to be. The next one's just going to go stitch down one line, and it's going to tack this top and the liner to your stabilizer, and then I'll come and show you what it looks like, okay? Okay guys, this is what we look like. It went ahead and tacked this down. This is what your back liner looks like. It tacked it down. Now you could pull this down and make sure you get past all your placement stitches, which are here. If it's too short, then you need to pull this out and get a bigger piece of fabric. Mine's always super long because I'm just extra with my fabric. I'm just going to trim some of it so it stays out of the, it stays out of the hoop arm when I go ahead and do that. So this is good. I'm leaving it up. We're not pulling it down yet, but I just wanted to show you can check that it's long enough. Then on the front, you can check this as well. So if you pull this down, you can see, you want to make sure that you don't see that line up here. If you placed it in the right spot, you won't be able to see that line. That's just to help you line it up. So let me put it up here so you can see. You can't see the line, you see the full triangles. So I like that placement. The other thing to check is that down here gets past your placement down here. If any of those aren't lined up and you feel like you're off, I would go ahead and pull that last stitch out and try placing it again. But mine all looks good. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this a little bit because this is bulky. I'm gonna just take this tape off right here. This tape off right here. And then I'm gonna get to kind of like a 1/4 inch. This is kind of bulky. All right. So we are ready to do the next step. So what you go ahead and do, and you pull this down. Okay, oh, my thing's not very tight. You pull this down and then you go ahead and put it on your machine, keeping your liner out. Make sure your liner stays out. So put this on your machine, go ahead and pull this down, stitch your next step. It's gonna go ahead and tack your front of your bag down. Then I'll come back and show you what we do next. Okay, this is what it looks like right here. It went ahead and tacked it down. It rounds the corner. So this is where it cuts off right here. Now, you could move your bag down up a little bit higher if you want it to be the points showing more, but this is how it lines up. Okay, So there's two places. If you wanted to add like a name or a monogram right here, or if you wanted to do a cute animal or a heart, like say I wanted to stitch a heart here or something. If you have software and you merged a design into this bag, there's two places you can put it on this bag. You want to do it before you pull your liner down. So you could do it right now. You could bring it over the machine and you could do a monogram right here or something that you added in software. I'm not going to show you how to add it in software. There's lots of videos. If you go check some other ones that I show you how to merge designs or add wording or add names. You could put a name here, here, up here, whatever you want. But if you did that step, you could add it right now before you pull the liner, meaning you would go stitch it right now, okay? The other place you could have stitched it is you could have did it when we made the front of the bag. On the first hooping, you could have had it stitch on the first hooping. So either place, this is the last spot that you can add it because you're going to pull your liner down. You want to do those stitches because your liner covers up those stitches, okay? So I'm just pointing that out right now. So I'm not adding anything. I didn't add anything. So what you're going to do next is you're going to flip your hoop over. You're going to go ahead and pull your liner down now. Okay. So I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to tape it on the four corners, and then I'm going to go back to my machine and I'm going to stitch the next step, which is just going to go ahead and tack this liner down, okay? And then I will come back and show you what that looks like. So making sure it's straight, okay? So just like that, go put it back on your machine. Every time I put this on my machine, I always check underneath to make sure nothing folded up so it's stitching correctly. So make sure you check that. It's just a good habit to get into. Okay, so I'm going to go stitch it again. It's just going to do that same tack down, tacking your liner down. Okay, I'll come back and show you what okay, this is what it looks like right here. I went ahead and tacked the liner down. Okay, so we're at the spot now where we put the back of our bag on the front of our bag, and whenever we do that, this is where you add hardware. If you want to make this a clutch or a purse with straps or whatever you want to do, there's lots of options on adding straps. Like this one, I added these cute little straps here with a braided strap that I braided. So on this, I added fold over elastic on either side of the bag, and then I was able to braid a strap and put it through. Okay, so this is one way to do it. The other way you could do it if you wanted to make like a purse from the top, let me get some hardware. When I do that, usually I do D clips. I would take two of these. I wouldn't do this with fold over elastic only because it's smaller. Oops, that's smaller than the clips and it moves around. If I was going to do that, I would either do vinyl or I would make straps for this. But I'm just going to show you what you would do to make it. Let me get another piece. I'm just going to show you with fold over elastic, but I don't like that it doesn't fit these, so I never use it with D-rings. Okay, so if you were going to do it, you would just go ahead and place one like this. You would measure to put it exactly where you want it. Then you take the other one and place it like this. You would measure as well. I usually line it up at the bottom of the zipper teeth. Like I put this D-ring going exactly across where the zipper teeth are, so I can measure it the same on both sides, and then I would measure from this line over and this line over. Make sure you put it in far enough this way that the foot of your machine's not going to hit this metal, and then this line right here on top is where it's going to stitch around, so that's where the fold over elastic is going to get stitched in, so make sure that your elastic's higher than that. But you would do this, and then you could clip purse straps to this. Make sure your hardware's on the inside because later it flips up. Okay, so if you wanted purse straps, you can do that. That's where you would do it. I'm just going to add one little piece of fold over elastic to the side so I can add charms or keychains if I want to. So I'm going to go ahead and place this right here. Okay, so make sure to add any hardware that you want to add or your tags or whatever you add now, okay? This is where you want to add it, and you want to open your zipper. You always open your zipper, no matter what bag you're making, you open your zipper before you put the back of your bag on, okay? That's when you do it. Okay, I am ready to go. I added everything I wanted to. I'm using this fabric on the back of my bag, and this is just woven. I did one piece of fusible fleece interfacing. I know on the front of this I used the batting, but just because we pieced so many pieces, I didn't want to overlap a lot of fusible interfacing, so that's why I did one sheet of batting. But in most cases, I adhere fusible fleece to it to add my padding to my bag. So that's what I got here, okay? So I'm going to so if you have the right side, say this is the right side's up, say the hearts are towards me. If you have directional fabric, this really isn't. Hearts towards me, then you're going to go ahead and flip this way, and then it will be the right way on the back of your bag. For like example, I did bunnies here, so that it had to go the right way. So that's how you make it the right way, okay? So I'm going to go over the machine. I'm going to stitch the next step. It's going to go all the way around your bag several times, enclosing your bag. Make sure your zipper is open, okay? Okay, this is what it looks like. There's the top of our bag. Now you're going to flip your hoop over. We're going to do our last stitch, which is going to be our other lining piece. So if you have your liner facing you the correct way, say the hearts are towards me, right side up, you're going to flip it like this, and then it will make sure your liner is going the correct way. And I'm going to kind of line my stripes up opposite. Make sure they're looking good. Make sure you get past all your placement stitches. Go ahead and tape this down really good. So I'm taping all of my corners. And then bring it over to your machine and tape the last stitch step. It's going to go all the way around like it adjusted, okay? It's going to leave a hole down here. So make sure your fabric is low enough. You have a little bit extra down here because it leaves a hole right here for us to flip through on the bottom, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and bring this on my machine, stitch it. I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, this is what we look like. Here's what the top looks like. Here's what the bottom of your hoop looks like. We are done. I always check to make sure it's stitched correctly and it's all there and fine, and it is. So before I pull it out of the hoop, because if I have to rerun any of the stitch or anything, you can't do it once you pull it out of the hoop. So we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and pull it out of the hoop now. Okay. Now, I always cut from this side. Let me get my sharper scissors that are way over here. Okay, I always cut from this side because I can see where the two stitches end. It ends here and here, and I cut at an angle. So I cut this way. And you have lots of layers of fabric. You have batting, you have fusible fleece. Make sure you're using thick scissors, sharp. So I'm going to cut over here. So a way that I remember which way to put the hardware on and everything is remember that you cut all the way around this bag. So if you had the hardware up here, you would cut it off. So you always got to make sure you're placing it and it goes on the inside of the bag. It flips up later when we flip our bag, but it's just a good way to remember. Okay, and then I'm going to cut straight across here. Okay, I'm going to throw this away. Okay, now what I do is I go ahead and take my two liner pieces. Your liner is either the fabric on either side of the hole. I hold that up because we're going to use that to close our bag. And then I fold it over like this, and then I turn this way so I can see the stitch line. I can't see it on this side, so I just make sure my fabric's out of the way. I turn it over. Make sure your scissors is straight when you're cutting across this. We don't need this extra batting and fabric and stuff, so we're going to cut it off. Make sure you're not cutting like this. If you cut like this, you're going to cut the inside fabric over here. Make sure your scissors is straight up and down when you're cutting this off. So you just cut close to your stitch lines without cutting it, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and flip it over now, and I'm going to flip through this hole, okay? And you can use whatever you use to poke out your edges. This is just from a turning system, a fabric, like a sewing. Lots of people use something called that purple thing, or there's different little tools. Just be kind of careful. You don't want to poke too hard. If you poke too hard, then you could go through your fabric and then you'd have to start over. Okay. So I am going to use fabric fuse tape. It's this right here. This is the packaging. Okay. It's kind of just like double-sided sewing sticky tape. So, and I place it on the line. You have stitch lines right here. I place it along that. So I actually place the top of it over that. And I just push it a little bit down as I go. When you get to the end, you can just tear it. And then I rub it pretty good. It comes off, and a little better make sure this corner is up a little bit. Okay, so you can see that I placed it over those top stitches, so you can't see it. Just it's right underneath. Okay. So this side I already folded in. So I fold this side in, and then I fold this side in. You're just kind of sandwiching it. Okay. All right. So this is a little thicker. Usually you don't need this, but since there's so many layers and stuff, it's kind of thicker. So I'm going to get it exactly how I want this to line up. A little too far down. Okay, once you get it how you want it, then I'm going to use these are called Wonder clips. I'm just going to hold it kind of in place as I go. Do one more. Okay, now when you get to this side, I'm going to pull this out. I'm just going to start at this corner, and you're just trying to get the plastic up. I guess it's just like a double-sided tape thing, so you got to get it started. Okay, so I got that up, and I'm just going to pull a little bit at a time, and then I'm going to place this exactly where I want it, and it's going to stick together, basically. Okay. It's super sticky. My nail sticks to it. Okay. Okay. Usually I do it from this direction so I can see it, but and then this last part it usually pulls out, so I'm just using my turning tool to keep it down. And then I'm gonna put it together. Okay, and then I'm just gonna rub it together. Sorry, my whole desk is shaking by me doing that, huh? Okay. You can see that it is straight. I chose to do my stripes opposite, so this side the black's here, but it lines up with the white over here. I could have had the black and white line up, but I kind of did it checkered on purpose. I liked them off center. So there we go. That is what it looks like when you close your bag. So now we're going to flip through this hole. We opened, remember we cut that cutaway out. That allows this to already be open. If you didn't open your zipper, this would be closed right here and you wouldn't be able to open your bag. So that's an important step. Okay. Now take the time. This is the last turn, so I always make sure my corners are really nice and out. Okay, and then I would get it lined up all correctly, and I would probably iron it, so that's how it should be. Okay. And there you are. There is the Delta bag. That's how you make it. There's the front. There's the back. Let's open it. And there's your full lined inside. Super cute. Again, this is the 6 by 10 size. Okay. 6 by 10 size. Super cute. This one's bigger. I didn't measure it, but I made this one a while ago. I always like to add like little accents. I'll probably add accents to this. That's why I left it. It's cute to add. This tag's also in Parker on the Porch. It's a cute little tag. And I like it because it matches over here. I obviously didn't trim. Need to trim that, but... Okay, so this is the bigger one. I didn't measure it, but you can see the size difference. 6 by 10. This is probably the 8 by 12. I don't know, because it's pretty big. That doesn't look like 7 by 11. It's probably the 8 by 12 size. Okay, super, super cute. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know. And another fast way to get your questions answered is just to go post in the Parker on the Porch Facebook group. There's lots of people in there, lots of information. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it helps you, and I can't wait to see what you make. Thank you so much.